Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie. Now, this was the second MCU film, actually, but it's not nearly talked about as much, but it's honestly been a personal favorite of mine for a long, long time. The Hulk has always been one of my favorite comic book characters since I was a kid, right along Batman, Spider-Man, and some others. Um, but much to my dismay in that regard, there's only been two real live action films, and it's already been what 16 or so years since the release of this film, which is just a shame to me, because there's just so much to do with the Hulk, and whether it's Universal rights or what, it's just odd that there hasn't another movie off the ground by now. Now I know this isn't like the biggest like ripping and roaring success of the MCU, but it didn't do like absolutely abysmally either. Um, but yeah, all that being said, regardless, I think this is a really underrated and overlooked film. Even rewatching it again, objectively, I don't really find much wrong with it. Now, it feels kind of detached from the MCU, whereas I think the first Iron Man kind of set the template more for the good version of what MCU movie could be. This feels like, okay, yeah, it's gonna lead into this other big thing, right? But tonally, it feels very much its own. Story-wise, it feels very much its own. Aside from the after-credit scene, which set me on fire along with the Iron Man stuff. Um, but it plays it very serious, very straight. There is like little bits of levity in here, but that's just through like a lot of conversations or just like little moments here and there. It's definitely not relying on any like one-liners or quips or anything like that. Again, it very much plays it straight, and I think that's kind of what kind of separates it for some people. When they're watching through a bunch of them, oh yeah, this is a boring by comparison to the Avengers or to like Captain America: Civil War. I don't know, but I've always loved this movie. I know there are some issues with Edward Norton coming on because he ended up kind of co-writing some of the script as well. There's disagreements between him and the producers and the studio. But he's still, I think, my favorite live-action Bruce Banner we've had. I like Mark Ruffalo fine, but I think Edward Norton much more suits the character in terms of just the intellect and kind of the loneliness and the reservedness of the character, and just how he's played on the psyche. Also, the advantage of being able to play more into the serious aspect of the character more than Ruffalo has. But still, I think Norton does a very, very good job here. It is like very, very loosely connected to the 2003 Ang Lee film, by the way. They still seem undecided on that up until it came out. A soft reboot, perhaps. I don't know. Just keep like the main ideas intact, and they just went forward with this film, regardless. But anyway, we could do a whole nother video on that. I think this is the best the Hulk has looked in live action. Both in terms of just how imposing he is on the design. They found a great middle ground between looking like the comic book version of the character and sort of make him look like as much in the real world as he can be. You can tell it's CG, in some spots, sure, but it's not bad CG, and there's a lot of detail to the model they use, the CG model they used for it. And I just think in terms of this portrayal and sort of the conflictive nature within Banner is definitely by far the most well played on we've gotten, and how they depict Hulk and sort of the Hulk's nature within him, just wanting to be left alone, but then also there's actually something within the Hulk himself that steps up and wants to kind of be more too, and just Banner's loneliness and sort of depression over everything and how they kind of touch on that, on how he's trying to manage it. It definitely echoes a lot to the Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno series. Lou Ferrigno's cameo in here is fun, as well as Stan Lee's. I have William Hurt as General Ross, who I think was very good in the role. I do prefer Sam Elliott myself. That's one of the few things I prefer about the 2003 film. But Hurt still does a good job in the part. Liv Tyler as Betty Ross. I know people don't talk about her much, but I do think she brought a fair bit of natural emotion to the role. She did a good part for portraying what she had to. Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky definitely fit the more kind of deranged side to the character as it goes on, kind of as he gets more drawn in by the power of super soldier experiments, and just wanting more from seeing the Hulk and wanting more confrontations with him. I think he does well with that. I know people have been mixed on the Abomination design itself. I'm sure he could have used more ears, I guess, but I think like that, seeing the bone structure of the the creature and the atmosphere that came with him, I still thought was pretty dead on to what it should be in an adaptation. So I don't necessarily hate the design itself either. I loved how they used Abomination in this movie. And the Harlem fight with Hulk and Abomination at the end of the movie still could be maybe my favorite MCU fight. Seriously, at least the top few. Just the staging for it is perfect. With Bruce dropping out of the airship and everything, and then emerging on the street, and then their slow kind of walk towards each other. And the music, oh man, it gave me chills when I was a kid. Okay, I was 12 years old when this came out. Okay, I was born in '96. And fairly violent for what it was too, with Abomination using those elbow spikes and everything. And you can actually see the moment where Hulk's anger sort of grows enough to where he can actually finally start to overpower the Abomination, sort of push him off. But I could talk about that final fight all day long. It's just an awesome climax, straightforward, and brought exactly what I want to. I thought the university action scene where they tried to bring down Hulk there was really memorable as well. And also Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns, the potential leader, who we're now just maybe seeing again in Captain America: The Brave New World, of all things, which is silly. But nonetheless, he played his part fine here too. The pacing for the movie, I think, is about perfect. Before I knew it, I had 41 minutes left. For me, it really built a natural momentum without kind of just ramping things up. Not necessarily. It felt like there were specific moments where it would hike and then naturally progress. Much in the way of him transforming, right? But yeah, I just really adore this movie. I think it really deserves a bit more credit. I'm just I don't see any good reason why it's seen as the lower tier of MCU movies. Again, I think this is far and away the best depiction of the Hulk on screen that we've gotten in a movie. In the first couple Avengers movies, alright enough in Ragnarok and the opening of Infinity War, but after that, just the silly smart Hulk thing, they never brought him back. This is how the Hulk should be done. This is how I want, as a lifelong Hulk fan, this is the kind of Hulk I want to see in a movie. And it's at least we got one movie out of it, I suppose. But yeah, I'd rate this movie an A-, no less. Let me guys think about it. Have you watched it recently? Do you even remember it's a thing? But yeah, catch you guys next time. Peace.